It is a calm and quiet evening. I am sitting alone in my room with a simple notebook in my hand and a big dream in my heart. My dream is to speak English confidently and clearly. I want to express my thoughts without fear. But there is a problem. I do not have a teacher. I do not go to any English class. There is no one around me who speaks English with me. Still, deep inside, I believe that I can learn it by myself at home. Every single day, I repeat one promise to myself: I will not give up. My vocabulary is small. My grammar is not very good. My pronunciation is not clear. But I have something more important: I have the desire to learn and the courage to try. And that is enough to start. I look around my room. My notebook has empty pages, but my heart is full, full of hope, full of questions, and full of determination. I ask myself, can I really learn English alone? Can I become fluent without going to school? Then I hear a quiet voice inside me saying, yes, you can. If you feel the same way, this message is for you. You do not need a classroom, expensive books, or a perfect plan to start. You only need a small beginning and a strong heart. You can begin right now, in your own bedroom. This is your space. This is your journey. And you are not alone. Let's start together. Chapter 1: My first day speaking English. On my first morning of speaking English alone, I feel nervous. The sun is shining outside, but inside I feel unsure. I want to speak English well, but I do not know where to begin. There is no teacher to guide me. I am alone in my quiet room. For a moment, I feel afraid. My mind tells me it will be difficult. But my heart tells me to try. So I take a deep breath and begin with simple things. I look at the table and say, this is a table. I look at the chair and say, this is a chair. I look at the window and say, this is a window. These are easy sentences, but saying them out loud feels strange. I speak slowly. I feel shy, but I continue. Then I walk into the kitchen. I see a cup and say, this is a cup. I see a spoon and say, this is a spoon. I see a plate and say, this is a plate. I start talking to the things around me as if they are my friends. I give English words to my everyday life. After that, I stand in front of the mirror. I look at myself and smile. I say, hello, how are you? I feel a little silly and laugh, but it also feels good. I ask, what is your name, and answer, my name is Sam. Then I say, nice to meet you, and reply, nice to meet you, too. It is a simple conversation, but it is my first English conversation, with myself. Later, I sit down and open my notebook. I write new words and read them aloud again and again. My pronunciation is not perfect, but it is my voice, and it is important. Even if no one listens, I speak. Yes, I make mistakes. Sometimes I forget words. Sometimes I say them incorrectly. But I do not stop, because I understand that mistakes are a natural part of learning. When you practice alone, you may feel shy or uncomfortable at first. But every word you say is a small success. Every sentence is a step forward. I begin to use English in my daily routine. When I brush my teeth, I say, I brush my teeth. When I make tea, I say, I boil water. I take the cup. I pour the tea. Slowly, English becomes a part of my life. The best part is that I can speak slowly and repeat as many times as I want. No one laughs at me. No one judges me. I feel safe and free. I feel like I am building confidence step by step. Real confidence does not begin on a stage in front of many people. It begins in your own room. It begins when you speak even though you are afraid. It begins when you use your voice, even if no one hears you. On that first day, I did not learn many new words or grammar rules. But I learned something much more important. I learned how to start. And that is the first secret to learning English at home. Start, even if you feel afraid. Speak, even if you are alone. Little by little, your fear will change into strength, and your small steps will lead you to big progress. This is how my English journey truly began: one object, one simple sentence, one mirror, one voice. My own voice. At first, it was weak and unsure, but I promised myself that it would grow stronger every single day. Chapter 2: Listening like a Child. The next morning, I wake up with a new idea in my mind. I ask myself a simple but powerful question: how do babies learn a language? They do not open grammar books. They do not memorize long word lists. They simply listen. They listen to their parents, to songs, to conversations around them. They do not understand everything, but they continue listening without fear. So I decide to follow the same method. I tell myself, I will learn English like a child. I will listen every day. I understand that I do not need to catch every single word. I only need to hear the sounds, the rhythm, and the natural music of English. I want to train my ears. I pick up my phone and search for beginner-friendly English podcasts. Soon, I find one with slow and clear stories. The first episode is about a girl going to the market. The language is simple, and I understand most of it. I smile because it feels possible. It feels real. Then I listen to another short podcast, only 5 minutes long. The speaker talks about daily routines, eating breakfast, taking the bus, going to work. I listen carefully and try to repeat a few short sentences. Not all of them, just the easy ones. My voice is quiet, but I speak anyway. After that, I search for easy English conversations on YouTube. Two people are talking slowly. Hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. And you? I pause the video and repeat after them again and again. This time, I am not listening for entertainment. I am listening to learn. I listen with purpose. I listen to copy. I listen to understand. I listen to improve. I create a simple daily plan. While making breakfast, I play English audio in the background. I listen while cutting vegetables and while the water boils. My hands are busy, but my ears are working hard. When I clean my room, I play another podcast. I pay attention to how the speakers stress certain words. I notice how their voices rise and fall. I begin to feel the natural rhythm of English. During this time, I just listen, I do not repeat. I simply absorb the sound. Later, when I go for a walk, I wear my headphones and listen to a short story. I play the same story 3 times. Each time, I understand a little more. Each time, I catch a new word or phrase. Sometimes I still do not understand everything, but I do not feel upset. I remind myself that babies do not understand everything either. They just keep listening. And slowly, their ears become stronger. Mine are becoming stronger too. At night, before sleeping, I play one last English audio, a calm bedtime story. I close my eyes and listen. Even if I miss some words, the gentle voice relaxes me. English fills my mind as I fall asleep. Day by day, something changes inside me. I begin to think small thoughts in English. Simple phrases appear in my mind naturally. English slowly becomes part of my daily life. I realize an important truth: if you want to speak well, you must first learn to listen well. Listening is not passive. It is powerful. Your ears are your first teachers. Train them. Use them. Trust them. Chapter 3: Reading That Changed My Life. One rainy afternoon, I sit near the window with a warm cup of tea in my hands. The soft sound of rain makes everything peaceful. I feel calm and ready to try something new. I ask myself, what is the next step? I already speak a little. I listen every day. Now, I want to read. I open my phone and search for simple English stories for beginners. I find a short story with easy words and short sentences. At first, I read slowly. Very slowly. Sometimes I stop after every sentence. Sometimes I read the same line 2 or 3 times. But I do not rush. I want to understand, not just finish. When I see a new word, I do not panic. I try to guess its meaning from the sentence. If I still do not understand, I check the meaning. Then I write the word in my notebook and create my own simple sentence with it. Reading becomes more than just looking at words, it becomes a conversation between me and the page. As the rain continues outside, I feel something new inside me: confidence. I realize that I can understand English without translating every word into my language. I can read directly in English. It feels like opening a new door in my mind. That afternoon changes me. I understand that reading gives me new vocabulary, better sentence structure, and stronger understanding. Listening trains my ears. Speaking trains my voice. But reading trains my mind. I still remember something my teacher once told me: reading is the secret to fast learning. At that time, I did not fully understand those words. But one day, I decided to test them for myself. I took my phone, searched for easy English stories for beginners, and chose a short story called A Day in the Park. The sentences were very simple: Tom wakes up. He eats breakfast. He goes to the park. I knew almost every word, and that gave me confidence. I started reading slowly and clearly out loud. I focused on each word. To my surprise, it was not difficult. In fact, it felt enjoyable. I finished the story in 5 minutes, then read it again. The second time, I understood more details. The third time, I read faster and more smoothly. My voice sounded more natural. I was not just reading words anymore, I was imagining the park, seeing Tom in my mind, and living inside the story. That small success changed my mindset. I decided to read every day. Not long novels or difficult books, just simple, short stories for 10 or 15 minutes. My goal was not to finish many books. My goal was to enjoy English and grow a little each day. The next day, I read about a girl and her cat. Then I read about 2 friends who went shopping. The language was easy, but the stories felt alive. I began to notice something interesting: certain words appeared again and again. For example, the word walk. He walks to school. She walks to the shop. They walk together. Without trying to memorize it, the word became stronger in my memory because I saw it many times in different sentences. This is the magic of reading. You learn vocabulary naturally, in context. You learn how words connect with each other. You start to feel what sounds correct without always checking grammar rules. When I found a word I did not know, I calmly checked the dictionary, understood the meaning, and continued reading. I did not make long vocabulary lists. I trusted that if the word was important, I would see it again. I also read aloud in front of a mirror. I watched my mouth move and listened carefully to my pronunciation. I reminded myself that this was practice, not an exam. Little by little, reading improved my speaking. My sentences became smoother. I paused less. I stopped translating in my head. I started thinking directly in English because I was reading directly in English. After 1 week, I felt different. More confident. English no longer felt like a stranger. It felt like a friend. Reading became part of my daily routine, one short story in the morning, another in the evening. Sometimes I read the same story many times because repetition made me more fluent. If you are learning English at home, start reading. Choose short, simple, interesting stories. Do not worry about difficult grammar or big words. Read with your voice, your heart, and your imagination. One day, you will suddenly realize that you speak more easily, understand more quickly, and think more clearly. Reading is not only about words, it opens the door to a new world. Chapter 4, Shadowing Without Fear. One evening, I sit alone in my room, listening to an English story on my phone. The voice is slow, clear, and pleasant. The speaker says, "My name is Emily. I live in New York." I pause the audio and repeat the sentence carefully, trying to copy the pronunciation and rhythm. My name is Emily. I live in New York. I listen again and repeat again. This is my first time practicing something called shadowing. I learned about it from a video on YouTube. The teacher explained that shadowing means repeating immediately after a native speaker, like a shadow that follows someone. You do not just repeat the words, you copy the sound, the tone, the speed, and the rhythm. At first, I feel nervous. What if I sound strange? What if my pronunciation is wrong? But then I remind myself that I am alone at home. No one is judging me. This is my safe space to practice. I choose a very short audio clip, just 1 minute long. The speaker talks about her daily routine. I press play. I listen to one sentence. Then I repeat it quickly, trying to stay close to the original sound. Sometimes I pause the audio. Sometimes I try to speak at the same time as the speaker. In the beginning, it feels difficult. My tongue moves slowly. I cannot keep up with the speaker. But I do not stop. I repeat the same 1 minute clip 3 or 4 times. Each time, I improve a little. My pronunciation becomes clearer. My rhythm becomes more natural. I start to feel the flow of English instead of thinking about every word. Shadowing teaches me something powerful. Speaking English is not only about knowing vocabulary. It is also about sound and rhythm. When I copy native speakers, my mouth learns new movements. My ears become sharper. My confidence grows. I am no longer just reading or listening, I am actively training my voice. The speaker says, "I wake up at 7 a.m. I quickly pause the audio and repeat, "I wake up at 7 a.m. I try to copy her pronunciation, her rhythm, even her tone. Then she continues, "I drink coffee in the kitchen." Again, I pause and repeat the sentence carefully. I say it many times until it feels natural. At first, My voice sounds unsure, but slowly it becomes smoother. I stop feeling embarrassed. Instead, I begin to enjoy the practice. Shadowing feels like practicing music. It is not about speaking fast, it is about speaking correctly. It is about careful listening and focused repetition. I create a simple routine for myself, 10 minutes of shadowing every day. I choose short audio clips with subtitles. First, I listen without reading. Then I read the subtitles to understand clearly. After that, I pause after each sentence and repeat it step by step. In the beginning, I make many mistakes. Sometimes I pronounce a word incorrectly. Sometimes I forget part of the sentence. But I do not give up. I go back and try again. I speak louder. I speak clearly. I speak with confidence. After a few days, I notice real improvement. My pronunciation becomes clearer. My tongue moves more easily. My sentences flow more naturally. I can say full expressions without stopping to think too much. Shadowing teaches me how real English sounds, not just textbook English, but natural, everyday English. I begin to understand how native speakers connect words, how their voices rise and fall, and how they use rhythm to express meaning. The best part is that I do not need a partner. I only need my phone, my headphones, and a quiet place. I practice shadowing in the morning before breakfast, in the evening after dinner, and sometimes even while walking outside. I whisper the sentences softly. No one hears me, but I am improving. When I have an important event, like a school interview, I practice with videos about interviews. I repeat the answers again and again until I feel ready. Shadowing gives me courage. It prepares me. You do not always need someone to practice speaking. You can train your mouth, ears, and brain together through shadowing. At first, it feels challenging, but soon it becomes enjoyable. Your quiet room becomes your English classroom. Your phone becomes your teacher. Your voice becomes your strongest learning tool. So choose a short video, press play, pause after each sentence, and repeat. Just 10 minutes a day can make a big difference. Over time, your voice will grow stronger, your pronunciation clearer, and your English more alive, all because you practiced without fear. Chapter 5, Talking to Myself in English. One sunny afternoon, I sit near the window with my notebook. The house is silent, but my thoughts are active. I want to speak English, yet there is no teacher, no classmate, no one to practice with. So I decide to talk to myself. At first, it feels a little strange. I say, "Hello, how are you?" Then I answer, "I'm fine, thank you." And you? I smile and laugh at myself, but it feels surprisingly good. I realize I do not need to wait for someone else. I can create my own conversations. I begin describing my actions. I open the door. I close the window. I take a pen. I sit on the chair. These sentences are simple, but they help me practice forming thoughts in English. I speak slowly and clearly, listening to my own voice. I can almost feel my confidence growing. Later, I stand in front of the mirror and start a longer conversation with myself. I ask questions and answer them. I talk about my day. Today I woke up early. I made tea. I cleaned the room. I watched a video. It feels like I am speaking to a friend, but that friend is me. This simple habit makes me more comfortable with English. Even when I go outside, I continue practicing in my mind. If I see a dog, I think, the dog is running. If I see a man carrying a bag, I say, he is going to the shop. I turn the world around me into English sentences. Everyday life becomes my practice field. When I see a tree, I say softly, the leaves are green. Something changes inside me. My inner voice slowly begins to think in English instead of my own language. This is how I train myself, by talking to myself every day. I do not need a speaking partner. I do not need perfect grammar. I only need simple words and the courage to use them. In the beginning, I make many mistakes. I forget vocabulary. I mix up my sentences. But I refuse to stop. I correct myself, try again, smile, and continue. My goal is not to be perfect. My goal is to keep moving forward. Each day, I choose different situations to practice. Sometimes I imagine I am in a cafe. I say, "Hello, I would like a cup of coffee, please." Other times, I pretend I am at the airport. My flight is at 10 a.m. Where is the gate? Sometimes I even play two roles and create full conversations in my room. At first, it feels like a game. But slowly, I notice real progress. I feel more confident. I speak faster. My sentences come more naturally, without too much thinking. English begins to feel like a part of me. One day, while cooking, I catch myself speaking English without planning it. I cut the onion. I add salt. I stir the soup. Suddenly, I realize I am not afraid anymore. I am thinking in English automatically. This is the power of self-talk. It is simple, private, and incredibly powerful. It is your free classroom, open anytime. You can speak in the morning, at night, or whenever you are alone. The more you speak, the better you become. Talking to yourself connects your thoughts directly to your voice. It trains your brain to think and speak at the same time. It teaches you bravery. It teaches you not to wait for others to practice. So start now. Look around your room and describe what you see. Tell a short story about your day. Ask yourself questions and answer them out loud. Speak to your reflection in the mirror. Speak in your mind while walking outside. No one is judging you. You are free. And the more you practice alone, the easier it will be to speak with others. Your confidence will grow from inside, and it all begins with one simple thing, your voice. Chapter 6, Using Technology Smartly. One night, I sit on my bed holding my phone and ask myself, can this small device help me improve my English? I look at my apps and settings. Everything is in my native language. Then I get a simple but powerful idea. I change the language of my phone to English. Suddenly, every menu, every notification, every setting appears in English. At first, it feels strange. But it also feels exciting. It feels like I have entered a new world. From that moment, I decide to use my phone not only for entertainment but also for learning. I want technology to become my teacher. The next day, I download an English learning app with simple vocabulary lessons. It shows a picture and says the word aloud. Apple. I repeat, apple. Chair. I repeat again. I practice for 10 minutes. It feels easy and stress-free. Then I try another app focused on speaking. It asks me to say sentences and checks my pronunciation. Say, I am going to school. I repeat the sentence clearly. The app shows a green check mark. I smile with pride. It feels good to see my improvement. I also use YouTube to practice listening. I search for slow and easy English videos. I find one about daily routines. The speaker says, I wake up at 6 a.m. I brush my teeth. I eat breakfast. I pause after each sentence and repeat it. I listen carefully and try to copy the rhythm. The next day, I watch the same video again. This time, I understand more without subtitles. Slowly, my phone becomes more than just a device. It becomes my classroom, my dictionary, my speaking partner, and my listening trainer. Instead of wasting time scrolling mindlessly, I spend a few minutes learning something new. Technology is powerful, but only if we use it wisely. My ears are learning. My mouth is learning. My mind is learning. Every day, something inside me is improving. Then one day, I try something new, voice typing. I open the Notes app on my phone and start speaking in English. The phone listens and writes my words on the screen. I say, "Hello, my name is Sam. I like to read books." The phone types the sentence. If it writes the wrong word, I understand that my pronunciation was not clear. So I repeat the sentence again, more carefully. This becomes a powerful exercise. Slowly, my pronunciation improves because I get instant feedback. I also start using a dictionary app in a smarter way. When I find a new word while reading, I quickly check its meaning and read the example sentence. I do not try to memorize it. I simply understand it and continue reading. If the word appears again in another story, my brain recognizes it naturally. This way, vocabulary grows slowly but strongly. Sometimes I use Google Translate, but only when I truly cannot understand something. I listen to the pronunciation of the word and repeat it several times. I even shadow it, copying the sound and rhythm. Technology becomes my helper, but I use it with control. I do not spend the whole day on my phone. I make a clear plan, 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the evening only for English. No games. No social media. No distractions. Even music becomes a learning tool. I search for English songs with subtitles. I listen carefully, read the lyrics, and sing along. It improves my pronunciation and helps me feel the rhythm of English. Learning becomes fun, not stressful. When I watch movies, I first use English subtitles. Later, I turn them off and try to understand by listening only. Then I turn subtitles on again to check my understanding. Step by step, my listening skills grow stronger. One day, I start using a voice assistant on my phone. I ask, "What is the weather today?" It answers in English. I ask, "What time is it in London?" It tells me. I smile because now I am using English for real communication. I am not just studying, I am using the language in daily life. Technology is everywhere, but when you use it wisely, it becomes your personal classroom. You do not need expensive courses. You only need a phone, internet, and determination. Use apps. Use videos. Use voice tools. Use subtitles. Change your device settings. But always use them with purpose. Learn one small thing each day. Speak one sentence. Listen to one short video. That is enough. Small daily actions build big success. Your phone is not just a device, it is your teacher, your partner, and your practice space. Use it wisely, and fluency will follow. Chapter 7, Creating English Habits at Home. One early morning, while the house is still quiet, I pick up my phone and read a short English paragraph before getting out of bed. Then I read it aloud. This takes only 5 minutes, but it sets the tone for my entire day. It has become my morning habit. I have learned something important: improving English does not require long study hours. It requires consistency. Small daily habits are more powerful than long, irregular study sessions. When you repeat something every day, it becomes natural, like brushing your teeth or eating breakfast. After brushing my teeth, I stand in front of the mirror and speak a few positive sentences in English. Good morning. Today is a beautiful day. I will study. I will improve. These simple sentences wake up my English brain. They prepare me mentally for the day. While cooking breakfast, I play an English audio story. I do not stop to repeat. I just listen. My brain absorbs the sounds without pressure. Soon, it becomes automatic. When I enter the kitchen, my mind connects it with listening practice. In the afternoon, I go for a short walk and think in English. I describe what I see around me: a red car is moving. A man is talking on the phone. The sky is clear. These small thoughts strengthen my thinking skills in English. In the evening, I follow another simple habit. After dinner, I watch a short English video. Sometimes it is a cartoon. Sometimes it is a slow conversation. I watch with subtitles and shadow a few lines. It feels like relaxing, but I am still learning. Finally, before sleeping, I write a few new words or short sentences in my notebook. I do not write long paragraphs, just simple ideas about my day. This helps me reflect and practice writing at the same time. I focus on learning just 1 or 2 new words each day. I do not create long vocabulary lists, and I do not study for hours. Instead, I write the words, read them, and try to use them when I speak. Over time, they naturally stay in my memory. I also make my room part of my classroom. I write words like mirror, door, lamp, and window on small pieces of paper and stick them on the objects. Every time I see them, I say the word aloud. It is a small and simple action, but it helps me remember without stress. On weekends, I reflect on my progress. I talk to myself about my week. This week, I worked hard. I read 3 stories. I watched 4 videos. I learned 5 new words. I speak slowly, but I speak with pride. These small results come from daily habits. Of course, some days I feel tired or lazy. Sometimes I do not feel motivated. But my habits remind me to do just one small thing, only 5 minutes. And once I start, I feel stronger again. Habits help you move forward, even when you feel weak. I have learned not to do everything in one day. I do not force myself to study for long hours. Instead, I create a simple routine: 5 minutes of speaking in the morning, 1 short video in the evening, 1 small story each day, thinking in English while walking, and talking to myself before sleep. I start with one habit and slowly add another. Little by little, English becomes part of my daily life. It is no longer just a subject, it becomes my companion. When something becomes a habit, it becomes natural. 5 minutes every day is more powerful than 1 hour once a week. Consistency matters more than intensity. Chapter 8: Learning never stops at home. Late at night, I lie in bed and think about my day. I smile because I know I made progress. I read 1 English story, watched one short video, spoke to myself in the mirror, and learned one new word. It was not a huge achievement, but it was meaningful. It was a day of growth. There was a time when I believed I needed a teacher, a classroom, or a perfect plan to learn English. I thought studying at home was impossible. But now I understand the truth: home is where learning begins. And if you are consistent, it can take you very far. In just a few weeks, I have improved. My pronunciation is clearer. My sentences flow better. I understand more when I listen. I feel more confident when I speak. And I did all of this by practicing regularly and using simple tools around me: books, apps, videos, mirrors, and my own voice. Some days were difficult. I felt tired or busy. But I promised myself to practice for at least 5 minutes. Those 5 minutes slowly became a strong habit. And that habit changed everything. At home, you are both the student and the teacher. You decide what to learn, how to learn, and when to learn. That gives you freedom and control. I keep a small notebook and write a few words every day. At night, I read them again without pressure. I trust my brain. I trust the process. Sometimes I record my voice for 1 minute and talk about my day. Then I listen to the recording. I hear my mistakes, but I also hear my improvement. I still practice shadowing. I still read simple stories. I still watch easy videos. I still think in English while cooking, walking, or resting. Every small activity becomes practice. I do not need an audience. I do not need a test. I do not need perfection. I only need consistency. Learning English is not about speed, it is about the journey. A slow and beautiful journey filled with patience and small victories. If you are learning English at home, do not worry about mistakes. Do not worry about being fast. Just keep going. Read a little. Listen a little. Speak a little. Think a little. Do it every day. Your home can be your school. Your phone can be your tool. Your voice can be your guide. Your dream can be your light. I started with fear and silence, but I took one small step at a time. And you can do the same. Keep learning. Keep speaking. Keep listening. Keep growing. You do not need to wait for the perfect moment, this moment is already enough. Now I want to ask you, what is one English habit you will start today? Think about it. Start small. Stay consistent. And believe in yourself. You can learn English at home, and you can succeed.